want to be able to fully transition from working at my full-time day job into being able to be an entrepreneur. I was doing everything that possible to try and start the business, 15 to 20 hours each week to build my business in. I used to think everything was do more. Basically, it was like post more, email more, go to more events, talk to more people. Like everything was more. But I post strategically. And there's a very big difference when you can know exactly what is leading to the result. I scaled and grew my business up to 20K a month in just a quick minute. Hello everyone, I'm going to share with you today how I scaled and grew my business up to 20K a month in just a quick minute. I'm Natasha Ho. I work with creative entrepreneurs and I help them leave behind hustling and grow to 6 figures and beyond so that they can have more fun, more energy, and more joy in their business. I'm really excited about this topic because it hits so close to home. When I was starting my business, way back in the day where I started at, I really didn't know how to start making money in my business. So I was creating all sorts of things and I was doing everything that possible to try and start the business. I bought all sorts of courses. I bought courses on Instagram and videos and branding and all sorts of things. I was running around and creating all of this content. I was creating blog posts, I was doing emails, I was creating funnels, and I had all these things created, but they weren't actually leading to money in the bank. And I was having a really tough time because I was struggling, not understanding what was the disconnect between what I was doing and actually making money in the business. And so this started out in 2016 when I first started, and I slowly started to actually have some breakthroughs around this. I had people buy from me, but it wasn't consistent. I would sell something here, sell something there, and it wasn't something that I could actually live off of or make the complete transition from my corporate job into being able to be a full-time entrepreneur. And that part was really the frustrating thing. And what eventually happened was I had my son. And so when I had my son in 2019, I really had the motivation at that point. I want to be able to fully transition from working at my full-time day job into being able to be an entrepreneur because I wanted to be home, wanted to have more control over my time. I wanted to have the freedom to be able to say, I'm going to work these hours. I don't have to put in 40 hours a week, commute for 3 hours of the day, and be out of my home all the time. So that really made making the entrepreneurship thing work really important to me. And so I spent a lot of time in that year trying to focus on what do I actually do in order for me to grow the business quickly, to go from inconsistent sales, small sales that weren't really going to pay the bills, to being able to have a business that was consistently bringing in the income I needed to replace my job and also to give us the lifestyle that I wanted to live. If you know anything about me, if you've been on my page, you know I love to travel, and traveling does cost some money. And so being able to have that kind of a lifestyle still when I moved away from my corporate job into entrepreneurship was really important to me. And so what I was doing in terms of that research, I was reaching out to mentors, I was talking to people who were growing businesses and trying to figure out what it was that they were doing in order for them to do so in a really fast and quick way. And so that led to the system that I've created for myself, for my business, as well as what I share with all of my clients, and that is my rapid ROI system. And this system is all about being able to know exactly what to do every single day in your business that's going to lead to the fastest path for bringing money into your business, the fastest path to cash. Because as I tell people all the time, you'll hear me say this very frequently, the only thing that's the difference between something being a hobby and a business is you making money in it. And that is really what turns something into a business. You have to be making money, and in order for it to be a sustainable business, a business that can grow, that can support you and your family and the lifestyle that you want to have, it has to be a business that's consistently bringing in income at a high level. So that is the key thing that I'm focused on with this system. The rapid ROI system is all about being able to make sure you have consistent cash flow and that you know what to do. Because the other thing that I ran into was not having enough time. All of us probably have had that experience at one point or another. If you've had that experience, that's what I went through, especially because when I was starting my business, I was doing it as a mom. I had an infant at home who needed a lot of time and attention and energy. And also it was in the midst of a pandemic. And so I didn't have the option to reach out to a whole lot of other people to help me with my son. So I had a couple hours of the day between his naps, and we had one child care provider that was coming to help us out. And so I had about maybe 15 to 20 hours each week to build my business in. So whatever I was doing in that 15 to 20 hours needed to directly result in income and cash coming into my business. I didn't have the luxury of 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60, 70, 80 hours of the week to pour into my business. It needed to happen, and it needed to happen quickly and with a very, very short investment of time from me. So that's why this system was really, really key for me in figuring out how do I make money in my business. What do I need to be doing every single day? So I used to think everything was do more. Basically, it was like post more, email more, go to more events, talk to more people. Like everything was more. And really, I think I had that mentality. I developed that mentality from being in the corporate world, because we're always thinking about productivity, and it's like, if X is getting you Y, then if you do 2X, it's going to get you 2Y. And so taking us back to algebra class with that one, I know, but basically thinking that if you double the input, it's going to double the output. And so the only way to double the output is to double the input, which is not actually what happens. There's a lot of different ways that you can 10x your output without having to 10x your input, meaning you don't need to spend 10 times as much time, 10 times as much effort to get 10 times the output, 10 times the result. And so that is what the rapid ROI system is all about, not having to 10x your input to 10x your output, so that you can figure out what do you do that actually leads to the result. Because what people don't realize is that there's usually like 20% of the things that you're doing are leading to 80% of the result. So you need to figure out what that 20% is, because you could spend a whole bunch of time doing a whole bunch of things that are only leading to a very small percentage of the result that you're getting, and you're spending way too much time doing them. If you can figure out what is that 20% that gets me 80% of the result, you can focus all your energy on that 20%, and that's how you increase the ultimate result that you're getting out of your business. So that's specifically what I focus on when I work with clients. I also love serving my clients and being able to be there for them and help them grow their businesses and have a bigger impact. But I don't want to spend all my time posting and emailing and growing my list and going to events and feeling like I'm constantly in motion, but not really sure what is leading to a result. And so I'm just kind of like going through the motions with life. And now I post, and I do post a lot, but I post strategically. And there's a very big difference when you can know exactly what is leading to the result and what kind of post to post, because now I can 10x the kind of post and I can 10x the output. So instead of just posting and not knowing what's working and not having any kind of strategy behind it or understanding of what leads to the result, that's when you feel like nothing's working and you feel frustration. And this is what I see with people all the time, is they feel like nothing's working in my marketing. Events don't work for me. Facebook doesn't work for me. LinkedIn doesn't work for me. Social media doesn't work for me. Email doesn't work for me. Whatever it is that they might say, they'll say things don't work for me. I hear them getting so frustrated with feeling like that I don't know where my people are. I don't know how to find leads. Excuse me, if you felt like that before, let me know. And also feeling like just overall building the business, it's a source of frustration, and feeling like I'm not really sure what to do next. It's not bringing in the kind of money that I want. I'm putting in all of this effort and I'm not getting the kind of output that I want. I'm not getting the result that I want. And that can be so frustrating, because you're putting in all of this energy, all of this time, you're investing in the business. And if it's not creating, then ultimately you don't feel like you can stay there. You can't create the lifestyle you want, the freedom you're seeking out, the impact you want to have on the world. And really that robs you, and it robs the world of the impact that you want to create. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you soon.